defend our democracy in this country. Let us stand together.
Yeah. We cry from together. And the way on them like they don't care about somebody now. Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we got to try. Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we got to try.
So why we allow this administration to erode our democracy? This is a democratic society, and therefore every creed and race must find an equal place.
Yeah, Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we got to try. Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we got to try.
So I am calling on every youth. I am calling on every citizen. Let us unite and save Trinidad and Tobago. For far too long we have been exploited. For far too long we have been neglected. The time has come where we must stand united in order to save our country. Yes, my brothers and my sisters.
Yeah, Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know.
Testing, 1, 2. Blessing, good afternoon. Blessing, good afternoon to each and everyone. Indeed, we want to welcome you to Facts Not Fiction. And as usual, we welcome all listeners, viewers, those locally, internationally, regionally. We want to say a special welcome. Just a reminder to go across to Facts Not Fiction, because the Victor Roberts page is filled with 5,000 and still waiting 300-400 more friend requests that is hanging in the balance. So I ask you to come across to Facts Not Fiction, because very soon Victor Roberts page will no longer be operational in relation to these activities. So let's get into today's proceeding. And today, ladies and gentlemen, I want to start right away with this topic that I have been dealing with for a number of weeks. And that is the fake oil situation. I want to start there today, because what has happened, it really isn't anything strange to what we was expecting to happen. Because, ladies and gentlemen, we know that the government took the initiative to ensure a victory came to their financier and also to the good friend of the Prime Minister. So let us get into the proceeding. I want to go back to a document dated Sunday the 10th of September 2017. This document states, on Sunday, opposition leader Kamla Prasad-Bisesa announced at a United National Congress rally that there was a fake oil scandal at Petrotrin, quoting from an internal audit that questions the shortfall between oil production at one of the company's lease field in South Trinidad and what being sold back to the refinery. On Monday, the audit was leaked and shared on social media. So this is back in 2017 when the opposition leader, Kamla Prasad-Bisesa, took the responsibility of performing her duty as opposition leader in relation to documentation that she attained in relation to this situation. However, I was looking at an editorial this morning on one of the dailies, and it went on to say, almost 4 years after the matter of Petrotrin fake oil scandal was first raised by the opposition, Trinidad Petroleum Holdings Limited released the details of a settlement it reached with A&V Oil and Gas Limited CEO Hanif Bash on Tuesday. According to the essential details of the arrangement, the Trinidad Petroleum Holdings Limited agreed to pay A&V the over 84 million it was owed for service rendered up to the time of 2017. A further 18 million for damages the companies suffer, and a new 10-year enhanced production service contract with Heritage Petroleum going forward. Added to that, ladies and gentlemen, this document doesn't tell us anything about cost. It tells us about 18 million in damages. It tells us about 84 million. But this document tells us that cost is yet to be negotiated. I want you to keep that in mind. Added to that, it says the allegation made by opposition leader Kamla Prasad-Bisesa that ultimately sparked the probe and termination of A&V service. The conclusion to be made is that those who conducted the probe into the matter did not find, ladies and gentlemen, any evidence in relation to this allegation. But I want to back up. I want to back it up. When the editorial speak of as a result of Kamla Prasad-Bisesa allegation, I really trying to understand what has become of the journalistic principles in this country in relation to media houses. I am now seeing that these media houses, both print and viewed media, that they have taken a position, and the position that they are taking, it's a position of being supportive to the People's National Movement. No longer we could pick up a daily newspaper, or we could even look at the electronic media and have what is called a balance in terms of journalism, a balance in terms of bringing the facts, a balance in terms of bringing the evidence, a balance in terms of putting the news out there without compromising or without sidetracking the thoughts of the viewer to focus the viewer in a particular direction. That is what journalism has now reduced itself to in this country. Analysts speaking about Nicki Minaj. This is what journalism has come to. Ladies and gentlemen, on the 10th of September, when my leader brought this information to you, it was simply because a probe was in progress. And I want to say to you, ladies and gentlemen, that this is facts, not fiction. A probe was in progress since in 2016 in relation to this situation that Petrotrin had found themselves in. This probe was ongoing since or a matter of fact, these allegations had surfaced since before Nicole Olivier was removed or fired, for a better word, from being the Minister of Energy and Energy Industries. This is a probe that was ongoing. And my question to you, Miss Guardian, and you, Miss Express and Newsday, and all you, wasn't it fit to ask the authorities in Petrotrin why wasn't this audit brought forth before it was leaked on social media and before the leader of the opposition received that information? Why was this audit being kept quiet? Thought for concern. But that is not the real fact of the matter today, no. We're going to get down into the real fact. So if what Trinidad Petroleum Holdings is saying at this point in time, and the decision that they took in terms of not following Deborah Peak, when Deborah Peak make it quite plain that the state together with Petrotrin should appeal the arbitration decision. Why wasn't it appealed? That is my question. Why nobody took the initiative to appeal the decision of Deborah Peak, of the arbitration, Senior Counsel Deborah Peak, her opinion, in the premise we are of the respective view that the award disclosed gross and fundamental errors on the face of the award, and the arbiters are guilty of misconduct in the conduct of their proceedings. So of course we understand that Petroleum Holdings is now telling us that they had sought two legal opinion, and the legal opinion that they receive is that it is not an easy thing to overturn the decision of the arbitration, and therefore things looking dim and things looking that, and probably there were not enough evidence in relation to taking the position that Petrotrin took in relation to AV drilling. So let us examine the fact, the nitty-gritty in this regard. So first of all, paragraph 20, section 50 of the internal audit report which was done by Petrotrin, and I read, I quote, the IAR contained a summary of findings and conclusions. There was a significant shortfall between August 2016 to June 2017 of over 400,000 barrels. At page 21, the following conclusion is recorded. That is from the internal audit I just quoted. So as I quote from the internal audit, let's just go a little further in our examination. So let me read. The Petrotrin board, under the chairman of Wilfred Espany, promised decisive action and commissioned 2 external audits, one being Kroll Consultant and 2 Gaffney Klein and Associates. Let me just read and then I'll come back. Both agree with the findings by the Petrotrin Internal Audit Department. Both agreed that between January to June 2017, Petrotrin overpaid 80 million to A&V Oil and Gas, which operated the Catskill field, which overstates its production by at least 350,000 barrels for that period. I quote him. Gaffney Klein advised that the reservoir was incapable of yielding the reported volume. In December 2017, the Petrotrin board gave written notice of contract termination to A&V. Listen me good. Listen me good, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going further. A&V, the company, challenged the decision and brought a civil suit against Petrotrin. Both the High Court and the Court of Appeal dismissed A&V lawsuit. The Privy Council rejected A&V application to appeal the findings of the local courts. The Privy Council states Petrotrin was now free to terminate its multi-million-dollar contract with A&V Oil and Gas. In the midst of all this, Alison Bash Nizan's daughter resigned as a government senator, having been appointed by Rowley after the 2015 general elections. Ladies and gentlemen, I want all you to pay attention as to what's happening in this country, you know. The the local courts, meaning the High Court and the Court of Appeal, dismissed the lawsuit by A&V and state that A&V, the Privy Council said that A&V drilling have no case, and therefore Petrotrin was in its right to dismiss A&V. I want to read something further. I want to quote for you Trinidad and Tobago. Justice of Appeal Prakash Mosai, one section of his judgment in this A&V matter, and I quote, Justice of Appeal Prakash Mosai said in section 39 of his judgment, and I quote, having regard to the proper inference to be drawn from all the circumstances, I am of the view that A&V has not satisfied the threshold requirement of showing that it has an arguable cause that Petrotrin did not have reasonable grounds for suspecting that A&V had misconducted itself or otherwise had been involved in wrongful or fraudulent activities. In case you miss it, let me read it again. Having regard to the proper inference to be drawn from all the circumstances, I am of the view that A&V has not satisfied the threshold requirement of showing that it has an arguable cause that Petrotrin did not have reasonable grounds for suspecting that A&V had misconducted itself or otherwise had been involved in wrongful and fraudulent activities. Look part of the handed down judgment here. Look it here. Ladies and gentlemen, look it here. So we had the court, which is the High Court. We also had the Appeal Court. We also had the Privy Council, all ruling in the favor of Petrotrin action based on the evidence that was put forth by 3, not 1, but by 3 audits. 1, the internal audit of Petrotrin. 2, the audit by Kroll of Canada. And 3, by Gaffney Klein of the UK. And I'm saying that Kroll consultant audit was a forensic audit. So ladies and gentlemen, as this thing get warm, ladies and gentlemen, so you are telling me today by these Packer hogwash documents that 1, the Petrotrin employees who was taking stock and dipping the tanks in relation to the volume of oil that came from the Catskill field to the Pointe-à-Pierre tank farm, they were wrong. You are also telling me that the managers, the production managers of Petrotrin who were looking into this fake oil situation, that they was also wrong. And you are telling me that also the auditors of Petrotrin, qualified, educated auditors of Petrotrin, they also had calculated wrong. You are also telling me that the forensic auditors that came from Canada and conduct a forensic investigation into this fake oil matter, that they too was wrong. And you are also telling me that Gaffney Klein from the UK, who came and also did an investigation and audit this situation, that they was wrong. And the only persons that is right in this situation is the avatars that came out at the Balize patch. You are telling me, ladies and gentlemen, that Justice Musai was wrong, that the appeal court, the Privy Council was wrong, the string of auditors that did a wonderful job, they were also wrong. But the people who was right in this situation is a bunch of individuals who was handpicked by all Prime Minister Keith Rowley friend to arbitrate against the situation, and it's only them was right. And it's only them that was right. An arbitration that took place in the Balize patch, them was right. Everybody else wrong. Them alone was right. And this is what we accept in this country. We have loan judges, law lords in England, appeal judges, forensic auditing, and everybody wrong. But a bunch of arbitrators who one was handpicked by the man who Rowley put at the hem of Petrotrin, and the other one was handpicked by Rowley friend, A&V and financier of the PNM. And then both of them get together and pick the third one, half of a dozen, six of one, half of a dozen of the other, and sit together, and all in a sudden, everybody wrong except the Balize arbitration. The Balize arbitration, they alone is right. And this is what we take. Ladies and gentlemen, before we really get heated, let me read something else for you. Listen this. The company alleged that the decision brought not up there. Right. While all this was going on, the closure of Petrotrin was being contemplated. The government actually did shut it down, claiming it was close to insolvency and had not paid taxes. But the Extractive Industrial Transparent Initiative, TTEITI, acronym, said that between 2010 and 2016, Petrotrin had paid over $20.2 billion And Prime Minister Rowley assertion that Petrotrin was close to insolvency was disapproved by the company's audited financial statement for 2017. Ladies and gentlemen, what was Keith Christopher Rowley hiding? What was Keith Rowley hiding? While Keith Rowley was telling us that Petrotrin was just a shell, the big word insolvent, just a shell, the audited financial statement was showing that what Keith Rowley was saying to the public, it was not the truth, it was a blatant lie. When Rowley was saying that Petrotrin was unable to pay the taxes, this audited document tells us that Petrotrin paid $20.2 billion. $20.2 billion in taxes and royalties. But the government was saying that Petrotrin was just an empty shell. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. All this could be avoided. But to the end of it all, there was a holistic plan to save hierarchies within the PNM from corruption charges. Petrotrin didn't close its doors because they could not pay their royalties and their taxes. A matter of fact, Petrotrin paid royalties on the fake oil allegation. I have the audited report. Petrotrin paid royalties for oil that they did not collect. So Petrotrin, all the advice was suggesting to trim down Petrotrin, not to close Petrotrin. But the question must be asked, what the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago was hiding in that he make a decision to shut down Petrotrin. Espany is on record when they tried to tie up Espany and said Espany was the one that made recommendation to close Petrotrin. Under oath, Espany said, not me. I never made such recommendations. But the Prime Minister tell us that the board recommend for Petrotrin to close. So my question, ladies and gentlemen, if all this allegation was not true as the arbiters suggest, why did Chairman Haywood had to resign from Petrotrin? Why did Devaki Singh, who was another subject of the investigation, had to resign? Ladies and gentlemen, all you better wake up in this country and do not allow yourself to be fooled by these individuals. This, ladies and gentlemen, the evidence was more than sufficient. But to the end of the day, we had interference from top to bottom. The first interference we had was Prime Minister Keith Rowley calling Bash and having a discussion with him in relation to fake oil. The second discrepancy we had was Prime Minister Keith Rowley calling Devaki Singh and talking to Devaki Singh, having a conversation in relation to fake oil. The third discrepancy that we had was the signal that the Prime Minister put in the public domain when he said to the press categorically that Bash is my personal friend. So when you as the Prime Minister send it out there that this is my personal friend, what do you expect will happen with the investigation? Added to that, why was Petrotrin closed? Petrotrin was closed to protect hierarchies within the PNM government. You see, to them, Petrotrin was a milking cow. And ever so often, every time they broke, they will pass by the cow and squeeze the breast to ensure that some one of them gets some milk from the cow. But they started to get so greedy amongst themselves that instead of they milk the cow, they start to cut the cow in pieces. So someone will pass and cut the tail of the cow off and go with it. Another one will pass and cut the leg of the cow, even while the cow was giving milk to our little children, our babies in this country. Someone will pass and cut one of the breasts off of the cow. Ladies and gentlemen, that is what the PNM was doing with this milking cow that we call Petrotrin. They didn't care who babies don't get milk. They didn't care who children starve and die as a result of getting rid of the cow. They didn't care how many lives will be affected by killing the cow. They didn't care how many homes will be broken and destroyed as a result of executing that cow. They didn't care, ladies and gentlemen, how much marriage would have been destroyed as a result of closing that cow up. They didn't care, ladies and gentlemen, about all the contractors who will lose as a result of killing that cow. They didn't care, ladies and gentlemen, about the upstream and downstream investors who will lose as a result of their decision. They didn't care, ladies and gentlemen, how much communities will be stagnant, will starve as a result of killing that cow. They were concerned about killing that cow to save themselves from being persecuted. They were killing that cow to save themselves from being exposed. They were killing that cow to protect their friends and financiers from prison. That is the type of white-collar crime that we continue to suffer in this country under a party that is called the PNM. This is what is happening in this country. This is what takes place in this country under Petrotrin. The arbitrators said that Petrotrin were unable to prove their case. You want me to tell you why? Let me tell you why here today. I'm going to tell you why. I want you to remember on the 18th of November 2017, headlines on the papers, the investigation into fake oil scandal has been completed. And it has revealed that there was, in fact, a discrepancy between the oil production and the actual production receipt of Point of Pierre. I have it right here. I have it right here. But I want to tell you why Petrotrin were unable to prove its case. Don't try to blame Kamla Prasad Bisesa and talk about Kamla allegation. Kamla ain't make no allegation. Kamla read from a report that all was hiding. Kamla ain't make no allegation. She exposed an audited report that was hiding. And as a result of exposing that report, then the government and Petrotrin had to take the initiative to do what is right. And that is why Franklin Khan had to forward that document asking for the investigation to continue and to send all the relevant paperwork to him. I wonder why. I wonder why. Because he's the line minister, or because he had something to hide. You remember Franklin Candice used to work Petrochin in the earlys. It's unfortunately we can't ask him why he couldn't work there no more. But in due time, all you will know why. But I want to tell all you what happened, why Petrochin had to be closed. Why Petrochin could not have furnished the rest of documentation to ensure Deborah Peak was quite clear. The arbiters went astray. You see, sometimes what has happened to people, it come like a punching man. Let me tell you something. When a man drinking punching, if you crack a punching bottle across the road, you smell it. There is something, the spirit does travel. Let me tell you something. You could be what arbiter. You could be as straight as a pin. Once you get contaminated with Balize juice, then that's the end of you. What eventually happened to you is that you become a Balize plant. And you become a Balize plant. Go down in my garden. Well, they ain't going to see no Balize patch there, because my little son, as he see a Balize patch, as Omar see a Balize patch, he say, Daddy, look at P&M. And he just cut that Balize out the ground. You hear with me today? As he see that Balize patch, he just cut that Balize out the ground. Cut it out the ground, clean out the ground. That is what he does do. He don't play with that. He just cut it out. But let me tell you something. I want to show you how responsible the opposition leader, Kamla Prasad Bisesa, how responsible that this woman is in this country. Listen to this. On Wednesday, the 19th of September, Prasad Bisesa wrote Gary Griffith. So here the subject matter. Prasad Bisesa wrote Gary Griffith on Wednesday, calling on the police to seek court assistance to preserve the evidence concerning the alleged fake oil issue and A&V Oil and Gas Company Limited. This was on the 19th. My leader wrote to the Commissioner of Police. I'm going to show you how clinical these P&M people really are. So Prasad Bisesa wrote to Gary Griffith and asking Gary Griffith to seek court orders in order to protect the evidence in Petrochin. She said she feared an ongoing attempt to undermine the democratic institution and process designed to uphold the rule of law. It has come to my attention that in preparation for the closure of the refinery, electronic documents, critical reports, statistics, data sheets, technical timeline data survey, and confidential employee statements have gone missing and or are being removed and systematically destroyed. She said in the letter, such action carry the real risk of compromising an ongoing criminal investigation by various organs of the police service. Equally serious is the fact that such action among to the commission of further criminal offenses, including but not limited to the obstruction of an ongoing criminal investigation and preventing the course of natural justice. That is what you call leadership. That is what you call being proactive, not as rowdy people reactive in this situation. Because today, the documents to incriminate, to save our public purse. My question to the Prime Minister is, if those documents are available, why not make it public? You see, you cannot make public what you do have. And this is what Kamla Prasad Bisesa wanted to prevent in the interim. To prevent to the end of the day, whenever these matters come before a tribunal, the evidence will be wanting. And this is exactly what happens as a result of Keith Rowley's decision to close down Petrotrain. What was Keith Rowley hiding in this matter? What was hidden? What was the hidden agenda by closing down Petrotrain? We want to know. We have to know. We must understand why Petrotrain was sabotaged, was murdered as a result of this whole situation. How much players in the PNM was involved in collecting money from Petrotrain under false pretense? How many players continue to live and to flourish off of Heritage Petroleum? You see, I want to say something, Mr. Bash, I want to tell you something today. I want to say something to you today, Mr. Bash, CEO of AV Drilling. You from the Southland, I want to tell you something about our next South man who was operating just like you. There was a road paving contractor they called Garib Das. Garib Das used to live on top of a hill. When just as you leave Penal coming wrong, as you pass Batcher coming wrong, on top of a hill on the right hand side, Garib Das was the Trinidad and Tobago paver. But Garib Das was a financer of the PNM. And Garib Das was paving every road. Or you think Carlos John was the paver, or you're making a big mistake. The real paver was Garib Das. Garib Das being a financier of the PNM. Garib Das used to pave every crack and cranny. Every crease. Garib Das paving. But let me tell you what happened, Bash. Garib Das used to have to pay his dues. So every time one of them PNM official want a glass of milk, they go by the cow, because at that time the cow was Garib Das. And when they go by the cow, they will pull their breast. If they want a glass of milk, they will fill a jug, because they're so greedy. They want milk today, milk tomorrow, milk the next day, and milk the other day. But they're so greedy. When they take all that cow milk and they drink the first 2 glasses, the rest used to spoil, because some of them never accustomed drinking good dairy product. So when they drink that kind of milk, they just get diarrhea. And they milk Garib Das. Every crack, every corner, Garib Das. Money. They milk Garib Das until Garib Das have to go to the United States of America and sell doubles for a living. That is what the PNM do to Garib Das. Because you see, Avery, I want to tell you, they're greedy. They're very greedy. And let me tell you something. You enjoy yourself. You collect your 100 million. You collect your 84 million. You collect whatever you had to collect. But I want to tell you something, Bash. The kind of greedy animals it have within that PNM party, I am going to wait. I am going to watch, and I am going to see. Take care how Garib Das had to go and sell Barra in the United States. Take care you had to go to Tobago and sell Polori. Just take care. You ain't had to go to Tobago and sell Polori. Because, let me go there. Because you know. That is all I have to say. Because you know. Before I move on, I want to come to Ramesh Lawrence Maharaj. Ramesh, I'm coming to you. I have a question to ask you. I know all these big boy attorneys, as a man talk, all their clothes suit like sand to put him in court. But I have a question for you, Ramesh. Ramesh Maharaj said, Prasad Bisesa, use an incomplete audit to make her claims, and said he immediately wrote to Petrotrin informing them that the allegation was false. Ramesh, how you know the allegation was false? Ramesh Maharaj, you know Kamla make allegation, and you calling for Kamla to apologize, and you calling for what to be laid in Parliament. My question to you, Lawrence Ramesh Maharaj, is how you know that this allegation was false even before an audit, even before a forensic audit took place. You know it was false. You tell us why. I asked you a question, Ramesh. One of them gentlemen there tell you it was false? Any of them tell you it was false? How you know it was false? You jump up. You jump up. No investigation didn't take place yet from a forensic standpoint. But you know the allegation is false. How you know that, Ramesh Maharaj? You see, all you just feel people stupid in this country. All you feel because some are always lawyers that everybody is illiterate. But let me tell you what all you don't know. There is plenty bright minds, legal minds, people who study law all now, right now. All you don't know that. So all you feel when all you come and talk this pack of hogwash on a television station or keep a press conference, that people should say, yeah, Kamla was wrong. Kamla did her job as the opposition leader. An allegation came forward in relation to a fake oil. By Kamla speaking, it had a forensic investigation that proved that it was true. But the conspiracy was so large that today, with the closure of Petrotrin, with the destruction of evidence, today taxpayers have to pay a price. That is how wicked, that is how evil, that is how devilish, that plenty people who hold high offices in this country, that is the way that they think and behave. So off the bat, Ramesh Lawrence Maharaj know that this allegation was false. Boy, Ramesh, all you're good. All you're so good. But thank God that there is people in this country that is not as stupid as some of them PNM people. Let me say it again. Thank God there's people in this country who is not as stupid as some, not all, as some of those PNM idiots that people could push anything down the throat and they holding on to it like a snow cone and they passing the mouth around it like an ice cream. That is how some of the PNM people behave. But plenty of them are now being awakened. They are now waking up from the deja vu that Eric Williams and Rowley have them in. People are now seeing this government for what it is. People are now seeing where the poor and the oppressed continues to suffer in this country. So, I am taking a short break. a very short break, and I'll be right back. Welcome back. So that is what I want Ramesh Raj Maharaj to tell me. How he know that allegation that produces all that evidence, how he know it was false. You see, we are accustomed playing games in this country. And I will tell you something. I have great respect for plenty attorneys. But there's also some attorneys that I have no respect for. You know why? Let me tell you why I have no respect for some attorneys. Because some of them attorneys, I know their background. I know some of them attorneys' background. I know some of the things that some of them responsible for in this country. I know that. Some of those attorneys in this country, I have great respect for. I have a real personal, nice, qualified attorney. And that attorney know who I'm talking about. That attorney is my attorney. If I bounce my toe and I call that attorney, I see a counsel too. I call that attorney available. Don't try to find out if it's a man or it's a woman because you wouldn't know. But there are some attorneys in this country I have absolutely no respect for. And you want me to tell you why? Not only because I know the background, not only because I know some of the crimes that they're responsible for in this country, not only that, but because they have no ethics whatsoever. No ethics. They will swallow the tongue for Clint Eastwood. You want to know what I'm talking about? You ever see the movie A Few Dollars More? They will swallow the tongue for a few dollars more. And this is going to drive me to the next segment of this Facts Not Fiction. They will swallow the tongue for a few dollars more. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now faced with an unprecedented situation in our country in relation to our constitution. Our constitution of Trinidad and Tobago, as far as this government is concerned, there are no more separation of powers within our constitution. There is no executive, no legislative arm, no judiciary. There is only one man and one man rule. Whatever Hitler says goes. Whoever Hitler decides to appoint, that's it. It doesn't matter if all of them went to the same school. Arnold Roberts, the giant of a man, Arnold Roberts, I also salute you for some of the information that is now in the public domain. And let me tell you something as on that one time. The Douglas, don't afraid all you. The Douglas in fear all you. I don't know, probably it's something about them Roberts boys and them. Something about them Roberts boys and them. We don't have fear in we DNA. Ladies and gentlemen, in our country today, we are now seeing allegations from as high as the highest office in our jurisdiction to the lowest. We are now faced with a scandal, a major scandal. In relation to the Police Service Commission. We are now learning that names were selected and that names were sent to the President's office. We are learning that politicians intercept the names. We are learning that politicians making recommendation behind the scene. What kind of a conspiracy is this in our country? What kind of destruction of our democracy under this PNM government? How come we have leaders in government who believe that they are bigger than our constitution? How come, ladies and gentlemen, we have leaders in this country that making decrees that the population must adhere to? How come the Law Association is so quiet while Keith Rowley and Faris Alwari destroy the fundamental principles of our constitution, where legislations which requires 2/3 and 3/5 majority, they have eliminated the 2/3 and the 3/5 and make these serious pieces of legislation simple majority, and the Law Association is quiet. Is it because, ladies and gentlemen, that the Law Association, they are more concerned with government briefs than seeking the interest of the Constitution and the people of Trinidad and Tobago? Is it to say, ladies and gentlemen, that the Law Association, they are more concerned with money than to preserve our democracy? I heard as a young boy that we have had some of the greatest constitutional lawyers in Trinidad and Tobago. Big names, men and women who dig in to the loopholes within our Constitution, came out as champions. Victorious in cases that nobody believed that they could have won. But here we are in a constitutional crisis. Our democracy continues to be eroded by this PNM government. Draconian measures have been implemented against the citizens of this country. The infringement of our rights, they are being trampled upon. And all these big name constitutional lawyers, quiet. Their noise, it is deafening. Not one word, not one word from these individuals, simply because we have learned to see, we are learning to understand that money is bigger than equality. We are learning to understand that because of the love of money, our law association dumb. Everybody now learning sign language. Everybody learning sign language. Everybody wants to see how much they could achieve more than the other. Our parliament, of Trinidad and Tobago has now reduced to a laughing stock within the Caribbean and the international community. I have seen a prime minister saying to an elected MP that represent over 300,000 plus people, why you don't sit down? I have seen a speaker who said, Prime Minister, I want you to pay attention to the standing order. And the Prime Minister, what standing order? A matter of fact, the speaker had to sit down. That is democracy at work. That is democracy at work. This government, ladies and gentlemen, it is a government that continue to conspire and erode all independent organization in this country. Could you imagine that there is independent senators on PNM State Board? There are independent senators who name were written on state board of the political California, these so-called independent senators supported this bill. We had a bill that licked up the procurement legislation. Who helped it through? An independent senator. Every bill that this government bring in the upper house, the independent senators support it. Is it because of Keith Rowley's choice for the presidency? Is it to say, ladies and gentlemen, that these independent senators, they are PNM senators disguised under the umbrella of independency? Every institution that should be independent, the PNM controls. We have an EBC, something as the Elections and Boundaries Commission. You could fight any election that you want. Any results could come out from your people amongst the polling station. The only result that counts is the result that the EBC put out there. But to the hem, and I'm now learning that it's also alleged that one of Faris Al-Wari family is also working in that EBC. Alleged, I am working on more because this is facts, not fiction. So if we have an alleged attorney general family working inside the EBC, together with what we know as the niece of an ex-minister under the PNM, also inside the EBC, then how in God's name could anybody win an election fairly and squarely in this country? How come? No, we have another independent body supposed to be independent. A body such as the Police Service Commission, where we will expect a commissioner to be selected on merit, but it seems as though that the table has now turned, that a commissioner will be elected not on merit but on the advice of the PNM. All this bacchanal, legitimate bacchanal interference with the selection of a commissioner of police, and today the Law Association have nothing to say. What is going on here? What is going on here? The President of Trinidad, the Republic, tomorrow day, the President of tomorrow day of Trinidad and Tobago have nothing to say. Madam President, I want to ask you a question here this evening. I don't normally go there, no, but I go in there this afternoon. I want to ask you, Madam President, if you are in a cornbird-ness. If you are in a cornbird-ness, and the reason why I say cornbird-ness is the cornbirders have some longness with a hole quite to the top. So the cornbirders take a while to understand what's going on the outside. So I want to know if you're in a cornbirdness. Because it seems as though that you are so comfortable within your quarters that it matters not what is going on outside. You appointed independent senators who now demonstrating that they are PNM senators. You appoint the head. I remember I wrote to you a letter, Madam President. I'm sorry I didn't work with it today. I wrote you a letter, Madam President, asking you to look in to the political affairs in relation to the EBC. Madam President, you remember that letter? You replied to me and you said that those who are appointed in the EBC is after consultation with the Prime Minister and the opposition leader. Madam President, let me tell you why I know. Kamla Prasad Bisesa had no consultation with the niece of a sitting ex-minister at the hem of the EBC. None whatsoever. I'm certain about that. Madam President, you have a crisis on your hand in relation to the Police Service Commission. And you have nothing to say, Madam President. Madam President, it is alleged that some politician came to the president's residence where it is alleged a discussion took place between that politician and the chairman of the Police Service Commission. As a result, a bacchanal is so brewing. We having members resigning from the position and you have nothing to say. Madam President, I am calling on you here this afternoon to revoke all the appointments of that Police Service Commission. Revoke all the appointments of those so-called independent senators. And while you're on it, Madam President, you could revoke your own appointment. Revoke your own appointment. Resign. Because people in this country cannot tell me that all these allegations up and down, EBC, this board, that, and you quiet, you have nothing to say, absolutely nothing. Madam President, you're making joke in this country. You're making joke in this country. This is serious business. This is about the lives of people in this country. We have a Prime Minister twisting, pulling, flipping the Constitution in every direction, and you will not make a statement and say at least that I am concerned in the way in which the Constitution is now being eroded. If that is a too strong word for you, you could simply say I have concerns about what is happening in the Parliament in relation to the 2/3 and 3/5 majority that is no longer within the ambits of the Constitution. That fair enough? But we are allowing everything to happen. We are allowing this government to punish we as citizens. Trinidad and Tobago are coming to you just now, you know. Are coming to you in the ghetto, are coming to you, all the community leaders, are coming to you, all the religious organizations, are coming to all just now. I have about 15 minutes, are coming to deal with all just now. But Madam President, let us hear what is happening with our democracy. Let us hear what is happening with our Constitution. Let us hear what is happening with the Police Service Commission. So arrest that for now. Trinidad and Tobago, this segment is for you. This segment is for you. Trinidad and Tobago, are you satisfied with the results of our money that has to be utilized to go and pay AV drilling? Are you satisfied? Trinidad and Tobago, are you satisfied with the $400 million that went to upgrade train 1 of the LNG, and today nobody could give account for it? Trinidad and Tobago, are you satisfied with the $300 billion that Rowley say he spent on oil, and today all you cannot get food, all you can get grant, all you can get nothing? Are you satisfied with the leadership of this PNM? Are you satisfied in the way in which this government is taking our country? Are you satisfied in the way in which the government eroded our democratic right? Are you satisfied with the way in which the government is usurping the Constitution? Are you satisfied with how the government is behaving in office? Today, ladies and gentlemen, I cannot hear the religious organization in this country. I cannot hear the religious organization. I can't hear the Catholic Church. I can't hear the mosque. I can't hear the full gospel. I ain't hearing the Baptists. Worse the 7 Days and the Jehovah's Witness. I ain't hearing nobody. I ain't hearing the temples. Everybody get quiet. All of them who get a 300,000. All them leaders will get a 5 million. All of them who collected money from Rowley. Everybody get quiet. Nobody talking on behalf of the poor and the oppressed. You know why? Because they're comfortable and they don't want to lose what Rowley have to give. All you taxpayers, you public servants, all of you public servants who tell yourself you have a nice job, you know why you can't get an increase? You know why you can't get an increase in wages? You don't believe what Keith Rowley government doing will affect you because you believe you have a permanent job. You know why you will pay heavy taxes. All that the government doing that you believe would not affect you because you is a public servant or you is a fireman or a police or a teacher or whatever, it coming on you. You going to feel the pain too. And if you believe that you will not feel the pain, ladies and gentlemen, then your children will pay the cake. You know why? Because the policies of this government, if it ain't finish you, it will finish your children. It will finish your grandchildren. That is what is happening in this country. This government continue to pressure those in the ghettos. All those youths, there is no future for you. This government have not provided any way forward for you as young educated people in this country, much less those who are not educated. This government, ladies and gentlemen, have not put any policy in place whereby the young people of this country would have a future. None whatsoever. This government, ladies and gentlemen, continue to destroy the homes, the livelihoods of individuals in this country. And the sad part about this is, for a few dollars more, the churches quiet. For a few dollars more, the chambers of commerce quiet. For a few dollars more, the trade unions quiet. For a few dollars more, everybody quiet. Today, I am going to make a call. Today, I am calling on Watson Duke. Today, I am calling on Ansel Roger. Today, I am calling on Tutor. Today, I am calling on every trade union. Today, I am calling on every public servant. Today, I am calling on every youth. Today, I am calling on every religious leader. Today, I am calling on all community leaders. Today, I am calling on all taxi drivers. I am calling on every citizen in this country. Let us prepare. Let us prepare ourselves to take legal protest action in this country to defend our democracy. Let us prepare to take legal protest action to save our democracy in this country. Let us prepare, ladies and gentlemen, to take protest action legally to save the future of our children. Let us prepare to take legal protest action to ensure that this administration call election so that we can reverse the ills, the pilfering, the erosion of our constitution, the blatant disrespect, a matter of fact, the thievery by this government who continue to thief the poor people money in this country. Let us prepare ourselves to take legal protest action to save Trinidad and Tobago. I am calling on every citizen. I am calling on Winston Duke. I am calling on Ansel Roger. I am calling on Tutor. I am calling on the religious leaders. I am calling on the chambers of commerce. I am calling on the law association. I am calling on every citizen. Let us prepare to take legal protest action to save our future of this country. I thank you. I out.
PNM, TV6, PNM, Express, PNM, Newsday, PNM, Guardian, PNM, Morning Brew, PNM, 95.5, PNM, 100.5, PNM, all over the radio dial. The UNC begins the fight back. The UNC begins the fight back. We shall fight back 97 times strong. United National Congress fighting back. We don't need to equal the PNM with mass media. All we need is power, brain, intellect, and a great program. Stay tuned.